On the second night of a back-to-back after a loss in Cleveland, the Warriors faced a young Pistons team on the road. With Detroit roaring back in the third and taking the lead, I want to focus on how Steph Curry was able to dominate the pick-and-roll action in the second half with multiple ways to win by double digits. So let's get to it. With first-string big man in Jalen Duren out, Steph wanted to go to work against a weaker Marvin Bagley. When Sarge comes for the high pick and roll, Detroit chose to ice his towards the sideline, which is a typical defensive coverage in the NBA. Steph counters by driving towards the rim, taking his defender in Killian Hayes with him and Bagley in a drop position. With Sarge as a potential shooting threat, Bagley decided to point Hayes up top towards the switch at the last second. Steph sees his massive amount of space and pulls up for the midi. Shout out to the Pistons' young core, they gave up a good fight. Kuminga comes up for the empty side pick and roll and gets a switch and a bigger Cade Cunningham onto Steph. Now JK has the mismatch and a much smaller Detroit guard in Sasser and instantly rolls towards the hoop for some size in the post. Smart lead pass by Steph to take advantage of the mismatch, and Kuminga does the rest with the midi. With Cade missing a pull-up mid-range, Golden State is best when they're off and running. Steph grabs the loose ball and it's a semi-fast break, and when Kuminga comes for the drag screen pick and roll, Steph knew the Pistons' coverage was an automatic switch when it is an on-ball action. He delivers the lead pass to a rolling Kuminga and collapses the Detroit defense. Killian Hayes is late to rotate as the weak side low man and doesn't really try to take a charge with this careless swipe. Easy layup by JK. Now we have a high pick and roll with Kevon Looney, and Curry knows the coverage will be a switch when it's an on-ball action. The problem with switching, as we know, is this leads to obvious mismatches. So Steph sizes up a much bigger beef stew, who plays pretty solid defense here, but gets lost in a dance with Curry. You really cannot do much here as Stewart contests a long two, but Curry swishes this ridiculous shot anyway. This time it's a handoff screen with Draymond Green up top, and Detroit decides to not switch for the mismatch and keep Killian Hayes chasing Steph. With the Draymond rescreen, Steph gives an incredible jab and sends Hayes the wrong way. This allows dribble penetration when he attacks Stewart. In my opinion, bad positioning by both the weak side low man and Cade Cunningham, guarding two non-shooters in the perimeter, so Steph simply fakes the shot to draw Stewart for the contest and dumps it off to Looney for the layup. For the dagger, Steph pretty much plays the entire defense. On the weak side first, you can see Klay Thompson signal for CP to bring his defender in the high pick and roll action. So the Pistons wanted to avoid this mismatch and pre-switch to get a much bigger Ausar Thompson for defense. As CP3 comes for the high pick and roll, Curry loses the ball and brings Hayes up towards mid-court. But here I'm pretty sure he was assuming there would be a Chris Paul screen, meaning it's an automatic switch. But Paul had long left the pick and roll, bringing his defender and Thompson with him. Easy dribble penetration for a late switch as Thompson is behind Steph Curry now, and no contest either for Stewart for the open layup to seal the deal. Well, there you guys have it. A good fight by a young Detroit team was just a tease, as the Warriors' best player led the Dubs back from a small deficit in the second half with multiple pick and rolls. Steph was able to detect mismatches on switches and find gaps in the early rolls to the rim, even exploiting the ice coverage. The variety of ways Curry dominated pick and roll is absolutely fascinating, and his basketball IQ and obvious scoring ability brought the Dubs another win on the road. Solid win here, so if you guys like this quick breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.